Oh, let's get nuts indeed, guys. What is happening? Welcome to Film Junkee Live. It's Monday. We got playoffs going on right now. Try not to be too distracted, I swear. But I do have it on in the background because, you know, it's the Rams, it's the Vikings. What can you say? Welcome, guys. We got plenty to talk about. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit that like, thumbs up. Do all the things. Following in all the sock meds that are provided down below and everything like that. Hopefully you guys are doing good on this Monday. How we doing out here? What's going on? Ryan, good to see you, bud. We got James right here. Also great to see ya. The Flash. Hey, you know, I think it's on Netflix, right? Or Max or whatever. I think Sasha should come back as another character for the DCU, and she had a... Yeah. Which character, though? Montoya? Could be an interesting one. What's going on, Indiana Jake? Flash movie is great. What's going on, RJ? Time to pop out the teacup for this. Yeah, we'll see, you know. We'll see. We got Shane O. I agree. Sasha, guy is Supergirl, would and could have so much potential for the DCU, even if her interpretation take on the Girl of Steel was in another movie besides Flash. Interesting. We got Mr. Nobody right here, too. Good to see ya. What's happening, Brendan? Nice to see you. We got Stephanie T right here as well. What is going on, Mr. Fear Jason? All right. Thank you. I know. I always love this shirt. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I have this shirt. And especially we'll talk about some Batman stuff tonight. Why not? We got Eric right here. We got Eric right here as well. Good to see you, buddy. All right. So let's see. Love how the Snyder haters blame the Flash film's box office on Ezra as if Average Joe knew anything about the stories like movie. Yeah. All right. JD McRae, what's up? Dave, haven't popped in a little while. Yeah, it's been a bit. Hope you and your family are doing good with the craziness around you. Yeah, we're good. We're not close to it, thankfully. So, not close to what's going on. Joe. We got Jason McKenzie. Always great to see you, my brother. All right. Ahoy, ahoy. We got DC film news in here. What's up? What's going on? Music gone. Music is too loud. Well, that's what I like it loud, okay? I like it loud. So deal with it, Red Hood. You okay? Taladia Plays. What's up? What is happening? Good to see you. Good to see you. We got Cortez. Curious when Doomsday starts filming this year. That's true. We got Untold. What's happening? We got Kenny. Very excited for Supergirl to start filming soon. Actually, it's not soon. It started filming today, apparently. So, yeah, a lot of things happening. A lot of things happening today. So, hopefully you guys had a good Monday and a good weekend and everything like that. So what's going on here? Looks like the Rams got the ball back. It's 10-3 Rams right now. I think the Rams are going to take this. I think the Rams are going to take it. I think Minnesota, it was an interception. I think the Vikings, as good as they did this year, they just have a rookie quarterback, and when it comes to playoffs, man, the nerves start setting in. So I think the Rams are going to take it. And, of course, I'm going to root for the Rams because that's what Pop's Film Junkee, that's his team. So, naturally, I got to root for his team and everything like that. So, but, yeah, hopefully you guys had a good weekend. You know, when it comes to the craziness that's happening in Southern California with the wildfires, I mean, it's gotten better. It's gotten better, but it's still, you know, things are still happening. People still need help. Obviously, there's all kinds of ways to donate and do all that kind of stuff. On Friday's Vodka stream, I had the pinned link for the Red Cross. But you know, if you have anything that you can supply and everything, and people are just stepping up, and it's just gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy the next time I go into that area. When I go into LA, that was one of the things I was thinking about this weekend. Was like, man, whenever I go into LA, and you guys know I don't really like to go to LA that much because it can be a pain in the ass. I mean, it's traffic and everything like that, but it's going to be so crazy to go to that area after all this and see the devastation and stuff. Pretty crazy things. But yeah, hopefully, like I said, people are stepping up, and yeah, thankfully that's the case. But thankfully too, that Mother Nature has also been like, okay, we're supposed to get crazy winds again. They keep on saying that. They said that it was going to happen this weekend. Didn't happen, thankfully. Then it was like, oh yeah, starting Monday, the winds might return. Thankfully, that didn't happen either. So the winds have yet to return. We'll see what happens because, again, that's what's been driving this whole thing. It's just the crazy winds. I mean, the winds were insane, absolutely insane. So hopefully they're not as insane. If they do come back, they're not as insane as they once were. So, but yeah, hopefully you guys had a good weekend and everything. Obviously, playoff football, wild card weekend, mainly watched that kind of stuff. I did watch Late Night with the Devil. I watched that movie over the weekend. I enjoyed it. It was cheesy. It felt like a very long, it felt black. It felt like an anthology type of movie. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, but I rather enjoyed it. I actually did enjoy it. I've been wanting to see that for a bit. Ouch. I've been wanting to see that for a little bit, so I finally watched it over the weekend. So that was cool. And then of course, I had some dinner with Mama Film Junkee last night, so that was good as well. But yeah, but didn't do that much movie watching this weekend because freaking playoffs, man. There's gonna be that time. There's gonna be that time period that when it comes to sports, at least for me, because I'm not really big into hockey or basketball. So, I'm all about football and baseball. So then when the football season ends, there's gonna be like a little time period where there's no baseball, no football. And I'll be watching more movies and everything like that. Anyways, guys, I'm rambling. Let's get started. Let's get to some tweets here. And if anybody was wondering if Cillian Murphy was going to be in 28 Years Later, I know a lot of people, when we saw that first trailer, everybody thought that skinny-looking crazy alien, that zombie that sat up, everybody was going like, oh my God, that looks like Cillian Murphy, which it did. That zombie definitely looked like him, but it definitely is not. That's right. There's the cover of Empire magazine featuring that very zombie, which is an actual actor who apparently is a pretty skinny actor. My God, that's difficult to look at. I mean, I'm just like, holy Lord. And then there's another shot that's like some art when it comes. So I'm guessing this certain zombie is pretty significant to the story for 28 years later. So, yeah. Hey, what's going on, Jose? Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully everything's good with you. I know everything was a little crazy where you're at. So, yeah, not Cillian Murphy. And apparently Cillian Murphy, yeah, definitely does not make an appearance in this movie. But according to, the people, I mean, this is supposed to be a whole new trilogy, so he actually might show up later. His character might actually show up later, which I think a lot of us are like, yeah, why not? He survived. He didn't show up in the second one. Why not have him show up in these ones? So that's cool. That's cool. Oh, man. And then, Jace. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of liking this era of Jason Statham and David Ayer working together, even though, it's just kind of funny. We had Beekeeper that came out last January, which I really enjoyed. When I was making my top 10 list of 2024, I put it on the list because I really enjoyed that film. I watched it twice, and, there's supposedly supposed to be some sequels that come out of that. But little did a lot of us knew, I think some of us knew, that the fact that Jason Statham and David Ayer were actually going to be working together again on a new project, and that project is called A Working Man. That's right. Human traffickers, beware. Beware. And then naturally a trailer came out.
God, let's all go home with the same amount of fingers that we came with.
So the trailer came out, and yes, it's just Jason Statham, who's trying to be the everyday man, and then gets wrapped up. You got Michael Pena in here, who is, family, friends, and whatever the hell, and then something happens where, of course, things go down. He is ex-military. He knows how to fight. It's cliched. It's traditional stuff. But you know what, guys? You know what? I don't get tired of watching it. Like I said about the beekeeper, I said, hey, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. It just lets you know that the wheel still works. You know, you put a little oil. You put a little oil in the wheel, make sure it doesn't squeak. It works. The beekeeper works. I think this will be fun too. That's all, you know. But I'm liking this era. Of David Ayer and Jason Statham working together. But yeah, kind of curious of what's going on when it comes to the beekeeper, because beekeeper was like very much like, that was like world expanding. I mean, there's a whole world when it comes to that. I'm not sure there's going to be like that when it comes to this, but hey, you never know. And then yes, guys, you know, if I decided to take the approach to you know, inject or, you know, consume certain kind of you know, things that would actually help me look a lot bigger, like you know, that Dwayne Johnson has, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Hansen. That's a whole other thing. But you know, thank you to Mr. Fear Jason right there. He put my face on the new Reacher poster, and yeah, that's what I would look like if I you know, gained about 70 pounds of muscle right there. Jesus Christ, holy Lord, look at that. Gotta love it, right? Fear Jason putting me right there. I still have yet to watch Reacher Season 2. I need to catch up. I know Season 3 is coming out right now, so, but I need to watch Season 2. Totally was like, oh yeah, I have not. I watched the first season. Great season. Great first season, and I really liked the show, so I definitely got to watch that, so. And then, you know, Jesus Christ, if I, you know, I remember hearing that about this right here, this Lego set. If I should have asked Santa Claus this past Christmas, I don't even know. I think it's out, but I remember seeing it before, and I definitely am like, damn, if Santa's listening, you know, I'll try to be a good boy this year. If you want to, like, you know, send this down my chimney. But we got the Batman the Animated Series Lego set. That is, I mean, look at that thing. That is cool. Shows entirety of like Gotham City right there. The blimps and everything, the bat signal, all the buildings, GCPD, just everything right there. And then, of course, you know, you have your characters that are sitting right there. You got a Batmobile. You got everything right there. And I'm just kind of going like, wow, really cool, unique Lego set that you can actually hang up on your wall right here. And I just love that. So, yeah, I'll be a good boy this year, Santa. If you want to give it to me, you know, 2025 Christmas, why not? Why not? Please? Josh Hartnett. Now, last year when it came to Trap, I enjoyed Trap. I know some people didn't like Trap, but I, for one, thought it was a very, very enjoyable movie. I don't know. I just did. And it was in my top 10. I put it in my top 10. I didn't care. I really enjoyed it. And I think the main reason why I did was because of Josh Hartnett. And at one point, you know, I thought, well, after watching Oppenheimer, I thought, Josh Hartnett as Batman? As a DCU Batman? I mean, he's in his 40s. He's in his mid-40s. Could potentially, you know, could be something right there. I don't know. Could be, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, we have this new movie that's going to be coming out. What's it called again? It's called Fight or Flight. That's going to be coming out. That has him taking on a bunch of people trying to kill him. And they released this clip right here, and I went, interesting. It's from the guys who choreographed, of course, the John Wick movies. So we have this. And I just kind of thought like, well, you know, hey, here's Josh Hartnett doing some of his own freaking fighting right here in a plane. It's pretty intense. He's got bleached blonde hair. It's interesting. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, this kind of reinvigorated me thinking about like, oh, when we're thinking about the DCU Batman, who could play the DCU Batman? And I was like, well, I thought Josh Hartnett maybe at one point, and I was like, well, here we go right here. Him just like kind of kicking ass. It looks like he's wearing pajamas. I think he's wearing pajamas in this clip. But, you know, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Probably won't happen. But I was just kind of going, hey, why not? I mean, he's throwing some pretty good, cool little punches right there. Hey, Josh Hartnett as the DCU Batman. He's 46 years old. He doesn't look 46. He doesn't. So, you know, he could pass for like late 30s if you wanted to. But, yeah, like I said, probably won't happen. But I was like, hey, let's start having those conversations again. I actually, you know what? I mean, I've said it before, you guys, if you guys remember, that I actually thought he'd actually be a pretty good Harvey Dent in Matt Reeves' universe. Like if Harvey Dent's going to be showing up in the Batman Part 2, I thought he'd be a good Harvey Dent. Turning into Two-Face, I think that would actually be a pretty good choice. But hey, you know, that's all. And you want to see something heartwarming, guys? You want to see something that might hit you in the feels a little bit? And, you know, because 40 years since Back to the Future came out. 40 years. So naturally, the cast of Back to the Future got together. And usually it's when we see Back to the Future, you got, you know, of course, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, and I always forget what Biff, the guy who plays Biff, I always forget his name. But we also have Strickland. What? Look at that. And I forgot his name too, but yeah, that's a cool little image right there of them two. And of course it says slacker. That's pretty good. That'll just warm your heart right there. And I, you know, pardon me for forgetting the name of him. I totally forgot his name. But yeah, so they had a reunion right there, and it was, you know, I saw that, and it was just like, oh, that warms my heart right there. Come on, that's just great. That's just great stuff right there. And then speaking of Batman, you know, I mean, again, I'm talking about Josh Hartnett as possibly being a candidate for Batman. There was another actor that I remember. I was like, well, before Pattinson actually got cast as Batman, I actually thought of him. I had this actor in mind for Matt Reeves' Batman, to be honest. And I was like, you know what? I always thought he could have but at the same time, just like when I was talking about Josh Hartnett, he would also be a good Harvey Dent to, you know, counter Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne and then, of course, his Batman. And, you know, I was having a little fun, obviously, with Grok, and when it comes to just, like, creating, like, images. And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about him. And then I went, oh, okay. Look at him right there. Do you guys know who that is? Anyone? Anyone know who that is? I know. So I just kind of posted it with just putting an emoji, and I was like, you know, not bad. Not a bad chin. Some good lips, you know. And basically, that is Theo James. That's right. So I also created the image of him without the cowl. So that's who I was also kind of thinking about right there. I was like, Theo James. Theo James? He could be potentially a good Batman as well. But, you know, I think, you know, at the same time, I'm like, yeah, maybe a better Two-Face, again, to counter Robert Pattinson's Batman right there, you know. So, just having a little fun with that. Thought, you know, Theo James, not a bad choice. Not a bad choice, but I don't know. Let's see what else we got here when it comes to movie-wise. Just all kinds of things. Yeah, I was talking about football. Man, I was just, you know, a bunch of other stuff. You know, posting stuff about the fires and everything, and people coming, like I said, a lot of people coming out, and you know, the biggest thing is, like, you know, the firefighters are like the true heroes, and then you have the people who are also be considered heroes too, like people who own restaurants and people who have the means of, like, supplying firefighters and anybody with meals and water and all that stuff. So, you know, just great to see that kind of stuff. You know, just really awesome to see that. And then we got some concept art right here, which looks really, really cool. That has to do with a certain Batman character that takes place in the future. Batman Beyond, that's right. Some concept art. Not quite sure. No, I don't see anybody's like signature on it or something like that. Just thought it looked pretty cool. DCU Comic Accuracy, they posted that right there. Not quite sure who. They didn't put like, who's the art and everything like that. I just thought it looked cool. And again, it's like one of those things where, we're kind of craving a Batman Beyond type of whatever. We know that there's been many pitches when it comes to that. When it comes to Batman Beyond. Animated, there's been animated pitches. And, of course, naturally, there's been a pitch for Michael Keaton to actually be the Bruce Wayne, the old Bruce Wayne in that. And it just kind of sucks because now it doesn't seem like, obviously with things that happened not last year, but, 2023, which we're going to talk about, might not happen. But, hey, you never know. Maybe something can happen, but pretty sweet, pretty sweet. Are you guys just like, you guys are just having flash arguments in the chat, huh? I love it. That's fine. Now check out this video. Oh my God. This video right here, I started laughing my ass off when I saw it, and I love the caption. The caption of this video right here, this is so random. This is from No Context Humans. The caption says, I thought that shit only happened in films. So this is like something from, I don't know if it's from China or whatever, but this one, like, security dude, I don't know, does a move that you only see in fucking movies, especially if you're a superhero named, well, not a superhero, but a hero named Black Widow. Boom! What the fuck? Look at that shit. Just totally just jumps on him, wraps. What the hell? What the fuck? That's insane. That is absolutely insane. This dude just like said, fuck this guy, and jumped on him, wrapped his. I'm like, was this actually, this had to be like some behind the scenes. It almost feels like it's a behind the scenes movie. Like, I mean, who knows? Maybe it is. That just seems so freaking, that's insane of this guy doing this move right here. Like, what the hell? I mean, he just jumps on him, wraps his legs, flips around, and then pulls him down. Something out of the fucking Raid right there. Holy crap. My God. I just saw that. I started laughing. I'm like, that can't be real. Apparently it is. I don't know. But again, who knows? Maybe it's not. But I was like, geez. That's really cool. That was just like really cool. If that's real, that guy wins 2025 or whenever that fucking year that video was recorded. That is just absolutely insane. That guy, wow. Don't fuck with that guy. That guy is a live action goddamn superhero right there. And then, okay, so this kind of doesn't make sense to me, but kind of, I mean, I guess like when it comes to all this stuff, when it comes to the wildfires that are happening, a lot of things are being canceled. Like when it comes to premieres, they postponed the announcements for the Oscars. I think they postponed it like a week. It was supposed to happen this week, but they postponed it like another week when it comes to that. But according to Vincent D'Onofrio, he says the Daredevil Born Again trailer was postponed due to the LA fires. So that's according to Daredevil updates right there. It's kind of interesting. So I think it was just kind of like the fact that, obviously it's Hollywood, it's LA, a lot of people, residents, they live there and stuff like that. So it kind of makes sense because, it wasn't like they were going to do like a premiere of the trailer or something like that. I think they were just kind of like, respecting the fact that, hey, shit's happening right now. And a lot of people like in Hollywood, in the LA area, it's kind of just like pretty much a madness that's been happening for the past week. So they were like, yeah, let's postpone it, which I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, who knows when we're going to get that trailer? I know obviously we've seen there's bootlegs that you can find. I'm willing to bet that the trailer is going to be a little bit different than what they showed at D23, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And holy shit. All right. Well, okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, ESPN. You don't have to update me on everything that's happening with the playoff game. But holy shit. Neil Gaiman. What the fuck? Okay. What the? Ooh. Okay. We already heard. We heard. And everything's alleged. You know, nothing's set in stone. It's always innocent until proven guilty kind of thing. But when people keep on coming out, if you guys didn't know, Neil Gaiman, of course, you know, we're in season 2 of The Sandman coming out. Well, who knows? I mean, I guess that's still going to come out, but it's going to be interesting on who actually decides to keep on watching it. But holy crap, it just keeps on, the stuff keeps on mounting. And details. When details start coming out, that's when you start going, oh boy. When victims start talking details, that's when you start going, I don't know about this. But here we go, guys. Vulture had this article, and well, prepare yourself, folks. Yeah, more women have come forward. One woman who was the babysitter of Gaiman's son was allegedly, that word, multiple times by him. Gaiman would address her as a slave and himself as master. So much that Gaiman's son even began to address her as slave. What? Gaiman also allegedly had sex with her while speaking to his son at the same time while he played on his iPad. Another woman who was living with her two daughters in a house owned by Gaiman was allegedly worried that he'd kick her out if she didn't continue to have sexual encounters with him. Oh my God. That's just, nope. No. Wrong! Totally wrong. That is just terrible. Absolutely. That is just bad right there. And that's not looking good. Those details just kind of make me go like, yeah. Those are some sick details right there. Just gross details. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, if any of this tracks, dude is done. Dude is 100% done, and he should be. Because that's just freaking, all that's just gross right there. Slave, master, what? Sick-minded. And then, of course, man, this guy had a power trip. All this is true. Like, again, it's all alleged. You can't just, like, automatically just, who knows, but at the same time, again, just the details just make me go like, I don't know. These details just make it, they're specific, okay? Throw him in with Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever his name is. Who cares? Throw him in the same cage. Gross. Oh, and you guys know I love some good old, art from these artists out there that I follow, and of course make fan-made posters for future movies. And we got Job Hutts again making an awesome Superman poster that I think a lot of people were passing around, and they're pretty cool. Look up, there he is, flying at us right there. He doesn't smile. Yeah, I think he does smile. Eventually he will, but yeah, there he is right there. So Job Hutts made this poster right here. He said it was a new concept fan poster featuring, of course, Corn Sweat. He said, my inspiration for this was Action Comics number 51 variant cover. So, gotta love that. Job Hutts does a really good job when it comes to his art and posters and everything. Crap. So, really excellent work right there. Always love seeing his work. Really great stuff right there. So, fantastical. And we go from something pretty damn awesome looking to what the? Oh man, the fact that characters, and just remember, guys, like in 9 years, like Superman and Batman, public domain. So, prepare yourselves. I mean, we still got a little less than a decade before they go public domain, but we've had Winnie the Pooh, we've had Peter Pan, Pinocchio, public domain, and mustn't we forget that Steamboat Willie, which essentially is just like Mickey Mouse, essentially where Mickey Mouse came from, has now, he did become public domain. And yes, there's going to be a horror movie on him. Now, I will say, when it comes to, at least what I've seen, when it comes to the Winnie the Pooh and the Peter Pan and the Pinocchio, it's like, okay, whatever, it works and whatever. But here you go, guys. There's Steamboat Willie right there. What the hell? This is the worst one. This is absolutely the worst one. Oh my God, look at that. I love how he's got the big buttons on his pants. He's got the big buttons on his pants. Wow. Oh boy. That just, I don't know what the hell. He's got the hat. He's got the big ears. I mean, it just looks really bad. It just looks really bad. And remember, yeah, there's also Popeye. Popeye actually looks pretty cool. I will say, the Popeye version, he looks pretty decent. He looks pretty scary. This, I don't even know what the hell this is. And I'm like, okay, here we go. That's fine. That's what's happening. That is what's happening. Oh. So, no originality, right? That's what is happening. Let's see here. Hold on a sec. Let me just do something here. Okay. All right. Sorry, I think I was looking down at my thing right here, and it looked like it stopped recording, which I'm always trying to record these things. So, you know. Steamboat Willie, yeah, it was Mickey's debut. So there you go. And there you go. That's all the tweets, guys. That's the tweets right there. And it was Steamboat Willie. Oof. Just totally just crazy. Just absolute craziness right there. What's the score of the game? What are we doing here? It is 17-3 Rams. Yeah, I think well, it's only the first half, though, so we'll see what happens. Plenty of football left. All right, guys. Now it's time to talk about the main stuff right here. Let's see. Let me make sure I got my things all here correctly. Okay, so we got that. Making sure I got everything. And like I said, there wasn't much DCU news, like, when it comes to things. I mean, it was mainly just, obviously, what I'm going to be talking about. I think, like, the biggest thing when it comes to DCU news is the fact that supposedly, Supergirl has started filming today. Now, I'm kind of wondering, when the production, I don't know if it really kicked in production. I don't know. Who knows? Like I said, Hollywood's kind of up in the air right now, so maybe it didn't. Who knows? But, I mean, it's not in Hollywood. They're filming in London, so I would think that they would not want to postpone that. But then again, you never know what could happen. Maybe people, actors, or whoever involved. I don't know. I know Amelia Alcock on her on social media posted about getting some clothes, from a certain designer, and she took a picture. Showed only half her face. Didn't show her hair, so... She didn't show her hair, so we don't know exactly what her hair is going to be looking like. But apparently she's out there in London about ready to shoot. So, yeah, it is. And what's going to be interesting about Supergirl, I don't think we're going to get what we got when it came to Superman really at all. Because Supergirl, if it's going to be based on, of course, Touchdown Rams. If obviously it's going to be based on Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, that... it's going to be taken out. It's not going to be on Earth. It's going to be taking place in the cosmos. So likely there's not going to be any, like, unless they film something in Metropolis and they go back to Cleveland or something like that. Maybe there might be something, but I highly doubt it. I think it's all going to be on sets, and we're not going to really see anything unless, people are, they're going to be paparazzi that are going to be over there in wherever the Warner Brothers sets in London. And they see something, we're not going to really get much when it comes to that. So I don't think we're going to really get as much as we were getting when it comes to Superman as we're going to get with Supergirl. Now, I'm kind of wondering if, like, hey, let's tease something. Are we going to get a little bit of a tease, like that first little tease of the Superman, the Superman costume logo in the snow? Are we going to get something like that when it comes to Supergirl? I would hope so. Let's start, continuing to build up the hype when it comes to these movies that are going to be coming out. So hopefully that's going to happen. But, I guess time will tell. That's all. I mean, but I don't expect too much. I really don't expect too much. All right. Let's talk about Andy Muschietti. That's right, Andy Muschietti. There's been a lot of talk about Andy Muschietti when it comes to Batman Brave and the Bold, and then, of course, now when it comes to reflecting on the Flash movie. And, we're all kind of wondering what's the status of it, because is Andy Muschietti actually going to be directing Batman Brave and the Bold? It's kind of up in the air. I mean, I think for the most part, I've always been like, well, until James Gunn says he's not, and until we hear something, I'm going to assume that he is still very much going to be involved when it comes to Batman Brave and the Bold. Now, last week, like Thursday, or I don't know when it was, but Andy Muschietti's been going on some radio shows, podcasts, whatever, and they're all Spanish-speaking shows, and has been talking about things. Obviously, he's got Derry, the series Derry, coming out. Welcome to Derry, I think is what it's called. And, he's committed. They're actually committing like 3 seasons to that, apparently. According to him, there's going to be like 3 different time periods that they're going to be doing this when it comes to Pennywise doing his thing, coming back, and terrorizing the town of Derry. So hopefully, I mean, that sounds like it's going to be cool. It sounds like it's going to be busy. All right, fine. So a lot of things up in the air when it comes to that. Is he going to be doing it? And then, of course, naturally, we've been talking about, like crazy, that, who's the DCU Batman going to be? Is it going to be Pattinson? A lot of people are still saying it should be Pattinson. I'm one of those, and I'm sure a lot of you guys, too, are one of those that I'm like, no, let's not let it be Pattinson. But what's interesting, though, is last week, basically it was reported that Andy Muschietti revealed in one of these shows that he hadn't talked to James Gunn since before James Gunn started filming Superman. So when production came with Superman, which was basically a year ago, it's been a year almost a year, I guess you could say, that if you were to take that information in and of itself, it just sounds like, oh, is James Gunn just ghosting this guy? What is happening? They haven't spoken since that. Well, that's the thing about this, folks. Context is key. And then, of course, translation is key. Because remember, he's going on shows full on Spanish. And some of these, Twitter handles and headlines are not doing the translations justice and whatnot. But luckily, we got people who are very much just doing the due diligence. And of course, I always give him praise because I love, he does great work and everything. And I highly suggest you check out his video, Boba Talks. He did a whole breakdown when it came to conflicting information when it came to these interviews that Andy Muschietti was going on. And it wasn't just one show that he went on. It was like a couple different ones right here. And then, of course, it was naturally that basically like Muschietti, when he was talking about the fact that he hadn't spoken to Gunn since before Superman, it wasn't that he actually said like he hadn't. He just said when the interviewer was like, "Oh, did you talk to Gunn about Superman, about this and about that?" And Muschietti essentially was just basically saying like, "Well, I talked to Gunn before he made Superman, and he told me some little things about the movie, but no, I don't know too much about Superman." So essentially, what's going on here is there's a little bit of conflicting reports when it comes to this. Conflicting reports in the fact that it's not that he was saying he hadn't talked to him since, but it was all about the conversation about Superman. It was talking about Superman in and of itself. So there was that. And then it was even said today, now take it with a grain of salt, obviously, but DC Films right here, DC Film News, exclusive! Although Andy Muschietti and James Gunn have not met face-to-face since the filming of Superman, a source close to the parties confirmed Andy and Gunn speak regularly. Batman Brave and the Bold remains in development and will be separate from Matt Reeves' universe. Hey, there it is. But of course, You just got to take the word of that. There's going to be a source there. There's nothing right there. Even though I'm actually glad there's not a source there, because sometimes the source is a fucking scooper that I can't stand. Usually that's it. I hate it when that is the case. When I see certain names, when the source of that is. And then, of course, like I said, there's things that are happening behind the scenes. Conversations I've had too. And sometimes you just got to go like, oh, okay. Okay, the source, all right. I'm not, obviously it's not for me to talk about, details when it comes to that. But, when it comes to the people behind DC Film News, I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to take your word on it for sure. And, when I've had conversations, I'm like, okay, I would say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and take that at face value. Cool. But, it's still very much up in the air. It could be very much up in the air. I do like the fact that remains in development and will be separate from Matt Reeves' universe, because I don't know how many times, because even when Muschietti was talking on these shows, he said that, yeah, Matt Reeves is doing his own thing. He's doing his own thing. I wish that would just get let go, that, yes, Pattinson is not going to be the DCU Batman. Not going to be the DCU Batman, which I'm all for. So then the biggest controversy that came out, of course. Let's see. Let me scroll through and find it right here. All right. So it was this one right here. Yikes. So he was on Radio 2, and he talked about this. They asked Andy Muschietti about the failure of The Flash. Now, obviously, when The Flash came out, I'm one of those that I enjoy The Flash. I can enjoy The Flash. Yes, it has its flaws. It has its problems. But I, for the most part, enjoyed The Flash. Now, naturally, The Flash was just a cursed movie. The Flash was 100% a cursed movie. This movie has been in development for so long. They've been trying to develop a Flash movie for a very long time. If you actually go back even further, before Zack even came in and did Man of Steel, they've been trying to do a Flash movie for a bit. And then, of course, when they were like, all right, now that Zack was establishing a universe and a Flash, it was like, okay, then we had, what's his name, that was going to do a Flash movie. That didn't work out. Then we heard details about that it was supposed to be like, hey, it was going to be an actual Flash movie, and there was going to, they were going to have his villains in it, and it wasn't going to be a Flashpoint type of movie. And then, of course, it got turned into a Flashpoint type of movie. And, I, for one, was like, all right, well, the Flashpoint story, I know some people are getting tired of the Flashpoint story, but at the same time, I'm like, well, when it comes to Flash and his origin, it does complement it. You can actually tell that story and tell the origin of the Flash at the same time, because it all works together pretty well. And I'm like, okay. So I was okay with it. And then, of course, in a perfect world, it could have been an actual Flashpoint type of story, and they could have had John Dean Morgan and could have actually had the Flashpoint Batman in there. But I thought it was kind of creative, like, oh, Michael Keaton's actually going to be the older Batman, and they're going to do a multiverse thing. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Maybe that'll work. And I thought, and I think some of us just thought, that could be the key of putting some butts in the seats. Sadly, that was not the case. So Andy Muschietti showed up on Radio 2 right here, and talked about it. They talked about the failure of the Flash. And naturally, guys, there were people that in sites like Discussing Film right now who, of course, if you see their tweet right here, they had to redo it. They redid the tweet because the initial tweet, they took only a portion of the thing. And if you can see right here, DC Film News said, maybe instead of content farming, you should actually get the full quote from the interview to understand the context. And that's the key right here, folks. And here's the full translation. And thank you to, of course, Mr. Ben Everts, Real Anarchy, who helped translate the entire quote when it came to everything when it came to the Flash, when, of course, they were making it seem like, oh, did you hear what Andy Muschietti said of why the Flash failure? Well, let's read the quote right here, since obviously not going to play it because it is in Spanish. He said right here, it's a result of a mental health situation, It turned out the way it turned out, let's say. I mean, they were dealing with a mental health situation. Obviously talking about Ezra, that's who the they is. And well, when you make a movie, there are things you just can't control. One of them is when actors have a public relations crisis. You know, they got into trouble, was arrested in Hawaii, etc., etc. I had, in general, a good experience with them. They're a great actor, a great comedian. I was very surprised by them. But then, towards the end, I came across all of this. I'd say this happened months before the release, just before the premiere, and well, it was a setback. Later, other factors piled up, like, you know, the fatigue with the superhero genre. Years later, I like how you said years later, because I'm like, well, it wasn't even 2 years ago, but maybe that's just, I don't know. Years later, I started learning about other things, like how when a movie like this is made, there's an expectation to appeal to all four quadrants of the audience. And this is a movie that, apart from everything else I mentioned, I think failed in the sense that it didn't appeal to all four quadrants of the audience. When a $200 million movie is made, the studio expects to bring everyone, even your grandmother, to the theater. And in private conversations later on, this is the key right here. In private conversations later on, I learned things like how a lot of people weren't interested in the Flash as a character. Half of those four quadrants, the two female quadrants, many women didn't care about Flash as a character. These are things that worked against the movie, and I gradually found out about them. But I'm very happy with the movie, and I highly recommend it. He heard things. These weren't his actual opinions. That's the thing. People are making it seem like Andy Muschietti was like flat out like, yeah, chicks didn't dig him. Chicks didn't dig him. Didn't dig the Flash. Nobody likes the Flash. You know, it's why the failure. It's like, no. He was being told by people in the studio, Warner Brothers, whatever, who crunched numbers, analytics. He was told that. So then he was like, well, that's what I was kind of found out later. So that's why, like, when I was seeing people drag Andy Muschietti, I was like, that's not exactly what he said. Not exactly what he said. He'd get everything in there. Not exactly what he said. So that was one of the things. And it was just like, okay, so he was being told of certain reason. And then, of course, talking about Ezra, and the Ezra situation didn't help. It didn't help. It didn't really help at all. Now, mind you, the general audience probably didn't have a lot of knowledge when it came to it, but at the same time, again, 2023 was a weird year. It was a weird year where people were just like, and what he said right there, when it comes to the whole like fatigue, superhero fatigue, that's very much a thing. It is a thing. It very much is a thing, I feel. And I think, like, you know, when it comes to Flash as a character now, mind you, there was like, what? How many years, how many seasons did the Flash TV show have? It had a lot. What, 7, 8? I don't know how many. I think it was 8, right? So people do like the character, at least when it came to that sense. But then at the same time, it was still like a CW thing. And when it comes to at least like putting him out there in the movies, it is kind of a difficult task because, you know, the Flash is not a big, you know, well-known, you know, character to lead a movie and everything like that. I, for one, love The Flash, and I'm always like, hey, let's go see The Flash. If there's a Flash movie, I'm going to go see it. But I think, you know, when people talk about the general audience not knowing, like, every little thing, it's like, I think they do. I mean, we have these fucking things strapped to our hips, you know, that constantly give us information and news. So, when Ezra was making headlines and all that kind of stuff, you know, it did put a bad taste in people's mouths when it came to that. So that didn't help. That was definitely a factor. It definitely was a factor. Now, there was a lot of hit pieces and everything out there that were basically making Ezra look like a fucking monster, and a lot of that shit was cleared. Remember when it came to the whole Chase Iron Eyes thing, and the dad finally came out and said, you know what? Yeah, that I threw all that away, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. I mean, Ezra was, you know, they were trying to make him look like a monster. And after that, oh yeah, it wasn't that. And I think, like, when it came to I think one of the issues too, just going back to the initial story of the Flash, what didn't help was the fact that it's like, yeah, a lot of people made comments about it, was the fact that it's like, wait, is this a Flash movie or a Batman movie? Because you got two Batmen in it. And I think that was probably not the best choice. If they would have just made a smaller Flash movie, maybe that could have helped, regardless of the controversies with the star. I think if they would have made just like, hey, we just make a standard Flash movie, there could be something. Because, yeah, you could blame the fact that nobody knew exactly who Ezra was and blah, blah, blah. They only just saw the controversy stuff. But at the same time, it's like, I always like it because it's happened before, where it's like you have somebody play a comic book character that's not very widely known. I like the fact that it'll build a star. Not you don't have to have a star behind the fucking mask. You build, the story in the movie helps, push that actor or whatever into the next realm because it's so good. And I'm like, oh man, did you see him in that? I mean, that's happened before. It happened in Marvel Studios. They created stars over there. A little bit of, I think it's more difficult to do that over in DC world. I don't know. But then again, Henry Cavill as Superman, I mean, he ended up becoming a star. Jason Momoa became a star. Gal Gadot became a star. I mean, that's the thing. It's like stars were born out of, what Zach was doing with these characters. So, yeah, I mean, there's just, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of factors that went into the fact that The Flash that failed, I guess you could say. But at the same time, again, context is key. Context and getting the full translation is key. So when I see people dragging, and again, it's like, Jesus Christ, here I am again defending another filmmaker that is trying to make a Batman movie now. Just like I'm defending Gunn in his Superman movie. It's like now I'm defending Andy Muschietti, and I'm just like going like, get the full context, guys, because let's face it, that's just what's happening here. It's like he wasn't flat out giving his own opinion. I'm like, yep, didn't appeal to women, didn't do this, didn't do that. No, he's like, some of that was just like he was told that, and that's the thing. That's the thing you have to take from there. Get the full translation, get the full quote, and everything. So, and he knows that there was like there's a lot of issues and a lot of things that happened. And to be honest, like if Andy Muschietti is still going to be directing Batman Brave and the Bold, I'm fine with it. I like what he did with Batman, both Batmen. I thought, with the Batfleck on the motorcycle, that opening scene, I thought that was a pretty cool scene. I thought the scene after it was not great. And we know the scene on the bridge with Wonder Woman. Yeah, that scene was not great. It was cheesy. It was very, very, very fairly cheesy. Of course, the costume didn't look good, but that's not Andy Muschietti's fault. That definitely was, that wasn't Andy Muschietti's fault from what I gathered, my information. And then, of course, when it came to Michael Keaton stuff, like when you see Michael Keaton's Batman do a lot of Batman-y kick-ass stuff, I thought those scenes were done pretty well, too. So I think he in fact, could do it. He could very well do a very awesome Batman movie if he's left alone to do it. That's the thing. Is like when he was making this Flash movie, who knows what? You have Hamada, you have just Emmerich still, you have WB just didn't know, they were just still DC Films. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They had no idea. And there was probably a lot of studio meddling that was happening as well when it came to it. So if you leave Andy Muschietti just to do it, which of course James Gunn would probably have, some notes, obviously he'd overlook it and stuff like that. But if you were just to leave him to actually make a Batman movie, I think he could pull it off. But if he ends up not having the gig and they just get somebody else, fine. I'm fine with that too. I'm kind of one of those. Like, I'm all for it, but if he ends up not keeping the gig, then fine. But again, context is key. That's what I'm saying. Just get the full quote, the full context, and we'll be in good shape. So basically, to summarize it, guys, according to the information, Andy Muschietti and James Gunn have talked since they haven't had a face-to-face since before in a year, sure, but they've talked because, hey, there's been communication for sure and ideas and stuff like that. And then when it came to some of the things that he was saying that people were dragging him, it was things that he was told by the studio. Okay? So, there you go. That's the way I'm looking at that. And thank you, of course, to always shout out to DC Film News for always providing that information and everything. Getting the translations out there. All the things. And then, of course, like I said, Boba Talks, who was really doing his due diligence. And like I said, watch his video of his full breakdown of that. You know, he's smart and articulate and everything like that. I just talk shit in the microphone. I just go like, I just say things. And I'm paid by WB, remember? You guys remember that. Yeah, you know. One of the things, too, of course, that was revealed also was the fact that we talked about it on the Vodka stream, but we'll talk about it a little bit again. But the Puppy Bowl is coming back. Animal Planet. WB is bringing this back. Smart, because then they're going to be revealing some kind of sneak peek thing, and I'm sure it's going to be very much just footage of Crypto and Superman, or Crypto and Clark, who knows, that they're going to be revealing on there. Again, I know, like, you know, some people are going to be like, oh, that's cheesy, it's cringy, it's stuff like that. It's like, yeah, that's the target demographic to get butts in the seats are children, and there's some children and the female demographic. Going back to that. Like I said, just go down that rabbit hole of watching trailer reactions, and when you have like female YouTubers, or you have the couples. I mean, Crypto was the fucking. He was anytime when he showed up, it was always like, oh God, and I'm like, that's why. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, it was smart to do that, and then to make him be adorable. And I just love that shot when he's running and he's dragging Superman. I'm like, that shot right there is like, who would have thought that we were in live action going to see a shot of Crypto the super dog pulling Superman, who's all fucked up, in the snow, dragging him. Who would have thought we would have saw that in live action? And the fact that it's like, when you see that shot in the trailer, it's one of my favorite shots of the trailer, because it's so ridiculous, and I'm going, but it looks so, I just love it. I just love it. So, smart. Crypto, the CGI dog. Yeah. It'd be kind of difficult, the Black Red. It'd be kind of difficult for him to drag, you know, an actual person. I don't think you could train a dog to actually do that. So, yeah, it's got to be CGI. Just like, you know, Rocket Raccoon. I don't think they were going to actually have a talking raccoon. They couldn't find a talking raccoon, so they had to do the CGI thing. You know, it's crazy. I know. Maybe one of these days they could get the dogs, you know, dogs to do that and stuff. So, anyways, Mama Film Junkies here. W so late they couldn't find an actual alien dog. I know, right? What's up? I thought we were doing practical effects. All right, so that's pretty much all the DC news. Like I said, there wasn't much. It was just all the controversy when it comes to Andy Muschietti, and I'm like, hey, let's relax. Let's relax, just like with the whole Matt Reeves thing. I mean, sadly, you know, when it comes to nowadays, you know, you got scoopers trying to get the latest scoops. They're trying to dig. And then, of course, when we hear things, we have to run. You know, you got to do your due diligence. I know I suffer from not actually not doing my due diligence as much as I should, you know. But, yeah, let's not, like, jump to conclusions. But, like I said, I'm pretty partial. Like, I like Andy Muschietti as a director. Really looking forward to the Derry series. Liked his It movies. And I like the Flash movie. And I think he could do something pretty cool when it comes to a fantastical Batman. And so I'm good. If he's still directing it, I'm good with it. If he doesn't, then hopefully, you know, Gunn finds a really good director to do that. But, again, Batman Brave and the Bold, that's far. It's far away, man. It's far away. Clayface is going to be our first entry into that, more into that Batman world. And that's what I'm kind of wondering. Who the hell is directing that? I think, you know, hopefully Flanagan actually does direct it, so. But speaking of directors of comic book movies, we got the Russo brothers. And the Russo brothers. Did you wonder why? They came back to direct two Avengers movies? Well, it had nothing to do with money. Right? It had nothing to do with the fact that their other projects were, not really getting praise as much, right? Right? Okay. But, we have Empire Magazine right here. They posted this article, the Russos, on why they're returning for the Avengers Secret Wars. That's a story we need to tell. Do ya? Do ya? Do you really need to tell it? Nah, somebody else could have, but hey. So of course, talking about this right here with us, they have screenwriter Stephen McFeely, and then of course the reveal of Robert Downey Jr. Back in the MCU as well as a different character as Doctor Doom. Not that returning to the MCU was an obvious move. Endgame was the end, and it took a little time for us to begin to think about it as something other than an end, Anthony Russo tells Empire. Sitting down, of course, with both of them and duo Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely to talk their ongoing partnership, including, of course, they're going to be doing the Electric State. We're very close with Kevin and Lou D'Esposito and the entire Marvel team, and we've had conversations through the years. We've talked about a lot of ideas, Anthony Russo said, and then inspiration for Secret Wars struck. Really, what happened was we ended up stumbling upon an idea that activated all of us. You couldn't see it coming until it came, and once it came, it was like, well, that's a story we need to tell. That's a story we need to tell. So, yeah, there's that. And then they continue on saying it wasn't always a sure thing that the Russos and McFeely would return. Marcus is absent, blah, 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 blah. There were ideas that we were trying to wrap our heads around that preceded this one, and we just never found the story, said Joe Russo. But it gelled when McFeely hit on how the Secret Wars comic arc might work in the MCU form. I remember calling Steve and said, hey, crazy idea. What do you think if we all go back and do Secret Wars? You were like, fuck no, absolutely not. And then you hung up. And the next morning at 7:30, you called and were like, all right, I have an idea. Roll call, the MCU's creative Avengers are assembling once more. Bullshit. Well, I mean, maybe not complete bullshit, but I think maybe partially. I think what they probably would have left out right there, and this is just my own brain, and I think a lot of us might think like what was actually the case is like they were always in touch with Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios, but they were never like going, oh, no, we're going to come back. But then, the MCU and Marvel Studios had a little bit of a rough patch the last few years, obviously with COVID, and then, of course, just churning out content and shows and all this stuff, and it wasn't really working all that well. And what did work well, of course, was Infinity War, Endgame, of course, even before that with Winter Soldier and Civil War. So they were like, hey, we need you to come back. I think this could be good. Come up with an idea. I think they were tasked. They were already tasked with the ideas. This whole little creative team was already tasked. And then finally they were just like, I think we finally cracked it. And hopefully they did, because the whole Robert Downey Jr. thing is, I'm still like, I'm on the reservation a little bit on it. I think, okay, I'll see what happens. And it definitely was a surprise, and it definitely hyped up things. But yeah. And then, of course, they just backed up that dump truck full of money. Just, hey, here you go. And like I said, the Russos, they didn't really have like big time winners. I mean, I think the Gray Man was, they did a lot of producing projects. That's the thing. Electric State looks interesting. But they only had like one other directing project. Other than that, they were just producers on that one show, and then producers on movies too. So I mean, they had some successes, but I don't know. I think it was inevitable that these guys were going to come back. That's all. So there you go. That's what they had to say about them returning. Had nothing to do with money. Anyway, sorry. I gotta, obviously the obvious joke right there. But now we got the box office. Of course, the box office weekend. I guess you could say this was like the first official 2025 box office weekend. And, we only had one movie that came out this past weekend. You guys saw my first reaction. Gave my full review at the opening of the Vodka stream. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, which I enjoyed. Didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, and it is interesting because, seeing the reactions and seeing the fact that this franchise might end up, I just worry that it's going to get to like Fast and Furious type of levels, and apparently, according to new interviews, when it comes to O'Shea Jackson and even Gerard Butler, there's talks of like, yeah, what if they continue and they keep on doing like these heist movies? I just worry that it's going to get too ridiculous because it went from like a Heat style movie that was a little bit more grittier than Heat. It was like a Heat offshoot kind of movie with like the cops and robbers, to now this heist movie with just two of the leads returning. That really was like a lot of build up, less action, a lot of build up, and then an exciting climax for sure. But it made the top on the box office this weekend, $15 million. Kind of wondering what the budget was. And no international numbers, so $15 million. I mean, that's not a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot, obviously, but it is January. It definitely is January, so it is number one. Number one's always good. Mufasa still running pretty strong, too. That movie crossed $500 million. So that means apparently there's already going to be another fucking spinoff or something like that. You got Sonic that will most likely hit 400 million. It's already making profit because it only costs 120 million. So that's good. And then of course Nosferatu, that's doing pretty well. I'm still wondering what this budget was because, 135.4, that's pretty decent for a movie like this. That's for sure. So there you go. Den of Thieves, kind of wondering, is it going to turn into a franchise? I hope there's another one. I really enjoyed both of them. Like I said, it's just two, they're pretty different. They're different in tone, and I think that's why it threw me off at first, and I think it threw a lot of people off. So I guess we'll see. And then of course this weekend, which of course we'll talk about the reviews on Wednesday's show. We got Wolfman coming out this weekend, which I'm very much looking forward to because I love Lee Winnell. I love what he did with the Invisible Man and modernizing Invisible Man. So I'm curious to see what he does with Wolfman. I've already seen some social media reviews, and they're pretty good. So that's good. That's good. But yes, guys, it's 2025, and we got some new stills. We got some stills that, some people out there would say that one of the stills that came out, I got, Warner Brothers handed it to me because I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid by Warner Brothers, but, what could he do? But no, that obviously we had that David Corenswet, the new image of David Corenswet that showed up. And everybody was posting about it. Well, it came from this article right here, USA Today. That's right. Maybe USA Today is the one that is being paid by Warner Brothers, not me or some of the other people right there. But all movies you'll want to see in 2025, from Superman to Snow White. I don't know about that, USA Today. I would say Snow White not on the list, But we got some stills. They did receive some stills. We got Heart Eyes coming out, a horror movie that very much has a killer that has heart as eyes. This movie looks really stupid. If there's nothing else coming out that weekend, I'll go see it. I remember seeing a shot in the trailer that was reminding me of like when the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake came out a while ago, in early 2000s. It's kind of like a similar shot that they were trying to get there right there. So we got a new still. Yeah, that's a really good-looking shot right there. We'll say that. And then, of course, we got Captain America, Brave New World, which is not tracking to have good numbers. Right now, not tracking to have the best numbers, but I guess we'll see. New shot, of course, Sam Wilson as Captain America. Then, of course, we have Paddington in Peru that's also coming out. And then, of course, a movie that I'm very much looking forward to, but because I just think the story sounds cool. I like Bong Joon-ho, I should say. Said his name wrong, apologize. Robert Pattinson's becoming one of my favorite actors working right now. And I just like the concept and the fact that it's like kind of like a dark sci-fi comedy. So there's a new shot of Mickey 17. And Novocaine looks pretty cool. With Jack Quaid, he basically can't feel anything, so he's going to be going on a crazy... Wow, that's funny. I have a new subscriber named Who Am I? That's pretty funny. Who am I? Novocaine looks like a fun action movie. Yeah, so he can't feel pain, so that should be good. Opus, that seems like one of those mystery weird movies that has one of those casts that you'll know. And then, of course, we have the future 2025 Razzie Award Best Picture winner, Snow White. That's the joke I made on Twitter. But there you go. We got a new shot of Gal Gadot and my good buddy Rachel Zegler right there. And, well, this, I don't know. I have no desire to see this movie, but maybe I'm just going to have to go see this movie to torture myself and to do a first reaction. I'm probably going to end up seeing it. You guys know I like to torture myself sometimes. Hey, I always try to go into every movie hoping to find something I like about it. I'm not going into a movie to shit on it. That'd be stupid. I'm not trying to do that, guys. But, yeah, there's a new shot of them. Sinners looks really excellent. Looking forward to that. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan. So there's a new shot of Michael B. Jordan right there. Vampire movie. New shot of Thunderbolts just looking off in the distance. Nothing crazy right there. And then, of course, another anticipated on my anticipated movie list. A new shot of Karate Kid Legends showing the great Jackie Chan. And, of course, as Mr. Han. And then, of course, we have Ben Wing right there, the new Karate Kid. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, very much looking forward to Ballerina. Miss Ana de Armas kicking ass in a sparkly dress. That should be cool. We got Elio, animated movie, Pixar. How to Train Your Dragon. A lot of people are looking forward to this. I watched the first one, didn't watch the second one. I'll probably check this one out, but there's a new shot right there. And then, of course, I swear to God, guys, I swear to God, I think Jurassic World Rebirth has dinosaurs. I'm not sure yet because we haven't seen any dinosaurs yet. No fucking dinosaurs, but we've seen the actors at least. I'm sure the dinosaurs are there. Gareth Edwards would not... but again, I think Gareth Edwards, what I'm hoping about Gareth Edwards is the fact that he treats the dinosaurs, like, hey, they're not supposed to be on screen all the time. We don't have to have dinosaur madness. And I don't think he's actually going to do that. I think he's going to have a really good human story. And then when the dinosaurs show up, there's going to be something magical. I mean, that's the thing. That's what's making me very excited about Jurassic World Rebirth. Is just the fact it's like, yep, you got that director, man. You got him. So should be good. And then, of course, there's the Superman shot we've all been talking about and everything that I was paid by Warner Brothers to post and all that. So there you go. So yeah, just some where if anybody was wondering where those these new shots from the movies that are coming out in 2025 came from, USA Today was the one that posted those. So like I said, everything's looking pretty good. Looks like 2025 is going to be a pretty solid year, and hopefully we get some gems. Hopefully Superman's good. Hopefully Fantastic Four is good. I mean, I just would not be surprised if Fantastic Four is... there's rumors. I remember seeing rumors that there's a chance that it still might get delayed. Which, if it gets delayed because they need to make sure it's a good fucking movie, like they make sure the visual effects and everything's good and nobody's rushed, by all means do it. Okay? By all means do it. I know people don't want it to be, but at the same time, if it means that they're going to put out a better product, by all means postpone it. But I don't think Jurassic World definitely will not get postponed because they're already showing like shots and everything like that. But when it comes to Fantastic Four, it's lacking a little bit, but guess we'll see. Hey, what's going on, Rhea? We got Pretty Fly for a Filipino guy in here. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Yeah, let's get to some Twitter questions. See what you guys are saying over here on Twitter. Ooh, it seems like quite the madness going on underneath. Maybe. Let's see. Let's make sure there's no crazy in here trying to put some crazy stuff. All right. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. Just always got to double check, guys. Got to double check. All right, here we go. So we got RJ right here. Dave, what do you think was the big reason for the Flash flopping as bad as it is, or as it did? If you had to put it down as a reason, I would say that it's too much studio meddling. I think they were trying to make too big of a movie. There was too much Batman, even though there's never too much Batman for me. Like, I was all about that, but I think at the same time they should have just made a smaller Flash movie. I think some of the controversies when it came to Ezra, I think that definitely did have a factor. I don't think it was like the overwhelming factor, but I would just think like they should have just made a smaller Flash movie. In hindsight, I was all about, like, I get the Flashpoint story and wanting to do something like that, because it definitely does, the Flashpoint story does tap into the origin story. So it works, but at the same time, it was trying to be too big. And then at one point, it was tied to the DCEU, where Henry Cavill was in it, Ben Affleck was in it more, and Supergirl survived, and there was a lot of things. And then, of course, they changed things at the end, and, it's just too much studio meddling. Just my personal opinion, but I feel like more people are trying to will Andy directing Brave and the Bold into existence versus anyone added by him as a choice. I don't have anything against Andy, but after this, the one who directs the movie dropped dramatically. He's gonna be way too busy with the TV show. Yeah, that might be the case. They blundered the Flash, not so much on him. See, I agree with Jarbo right there. Calling out the studio is just, well, okay, so you guys were arguing. Let's see. This is my nutso. Would not be shocked if Gunn took on Batman himself. Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of thinking that might be the case. It's his favorite character. He loves Damian Wayne as a character, and we don't know who's writing the movie yet or if a script is even being written. It's my conspiracy theory. Yeah, there you go. I get it. What's good? And then we got Axel right here. Hey, Dave, here are some images of your character along with his allies. Nice. Keep on working, man. You're doing some good work. I like it, Axel. Pat McClellan, I completely agree with your Den of Thieves 2 first reactions. The sequel was entertaining but lacks the grit and character of the first film.